Dear students, welcome to the class of differential calculus. Today we will start from basic concepts which are required in the theory of calculus. Let us start from the very basic things, real numbers and real line. The real numbers can be represented geometrically as point on the number line. As you can see in the diagram, the point in the center denotes 0. As the points are getting larger, the points are going on to the right hand side up to infinity, up to plus infinity. And as the numbers are getting smaller, the number are moving towards the left hand side of the real line. Let us see the subsets of reals. The first one is the set of natural numbers, which starts from 1, 2, 3, 4 and goes on to infinity. Number 2 is the set of integers like 0, positive 1, 2, 3 and so on plus infinity, as well as minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 up to minus infinity. Next is the set of rational numbers. The numbers, I am talking about the fourth point, the numbers that can be expressed in the form m by n, where m, n are integers and n is not equal to 0 are called rational numbers. Next is point 3, irrational numbers. The real numbers which are not rational are called irrational numbers. Irrational numbers are characterized by having the numbers, those are non-terminating and non-repeating decimal expansions. As you can see from this sketch, we have a set of real numbers on the screen, and these subsets are, first one is the set of natural, 1, 2, 3. The whole numbers are also included. Whole number is a set which contains 0 also. 0, 1, 2, 3, these are the set of whole numbers. Integers are shown here and rationals are shown here, and the right hand side which are the set of irrational. For example, under root 3, under root 2 will also be irrational number, under root pi is the irrational number, and look at this point 1 0 0 1 0 0 0 1, that means it is a non-terminating and non-repeating decimal expansion. So these numbers are called irrational numbers. Next is the functions. Functions are the major tools for describing the real world in mathematical form. Dear students, you must have done functions in a elaborated way in your plus 1 2 classes, right? So functions are the main basic blocks जिससे सारा calculus सारा based है, right? So let us quickly recall the definition of function and the related terms. So as you can show in the screen, we have two sets A and B. The elements 1, 2, 3, 4 are being mapped to the points of set B. Set B contains A, B, C, D points, right? So what is a function? Function is basically a rule under which the points of set A are mapped onto the points of set B. Let us recall the equation of area of a circle. We know capital A denotes here area of the circle, and pi r square, here r denotes the radius of the circle. We say A is a function of r because as the value of r varies, value of A will vary accordingly. So equation 1 is the rule which tells how to calculate a unique output value of A for each possible input value of the radius r. Right? So we say y is a function of x, and we write it like y equal to f of x, where x is called independent variable and y is called the dependent variable. Now the set of all input values of x, in the last equation that we have done, the all input values of radius r is called the domain of the function, and the set of all output values of the area, capital A, will form the range of functions, right? Let us now define limit of functions, and before giving the definition of limit, let us look at this an example that how does the function fx equal to x square minus 1 upon x minus 1 behave near x equal to 1. Let us expand this function. Fx is written as x minus 1, x plus 1 upon x minus 1. X minus 1 cancels here and we get fx equal to x plus 1. And dear students, fx x square minus 1 upon x minus 1 is clearly not defined at x equal to 1. So we are to impose this condition that x should not be equal to 1. X the value 1 nahi honi chahiye. So we are discussing the behavior of this function fx near x equal to 1, right? Now, limit x tends to 1 fx will be equal to limit x square minus 1 upon x minus 1. X minus 1 cancels here, so it is equal to limit x tend to 1, x plus 1, and which comes out to be 2, right? In calculative form, we do this question like this, ki limit of fx at x tends to 1 is equal to 2. Now let us see it in tabulated form. In the first column, we have taken value of x, and in the second column, we are taking value of fx corresponding to different values of x. I have made this table at different values of x. See, when the value of x is 0.9, fx is calculated as 1.9. When the value is 1.1, the value of fx is calculated as 2.1. When the value is x is 0.99, the value of fx comes out to be 1.99 and so on, right? Now look at this table carefully. What is happening here is that the closer x gets to 1, जिस तरह असी x की value 1 वाल नू ले जा रहे हैं, the closer fx equal to x square minus 1 upon x minus 1 seems to get to 2. The fx the value जड़ी है 2 वाल नू वध रही है. जिस तरह x की वैल्यू 1 वाल नू आंदी है, तो fx की वैल्यू जड़ी है 2 वाल नू concentrate हुंदी है. And it is not only in one side. जे असी go to the last slide. जे असी 0.9 वाल तो 1 नू आया, तावी वैल्यू fx की 2 नू वध रही है. जे असी 1 तो 1.0001 तो 1 नू आ रहे हैं, तावी वैल्यू जड़ी है 2 वाल नू आ रही है. So what we are observing that the closer x gets to 1, the closer fx seems to get to 2. Now let us see the definition of limit of function. How we write the definition of function is, let fx be defined on an open interval about a point x naught. If fx gets arbitrarily close to L for all x sufficiently close to L, we say that f approaches to the limit L as x approaches x naught. So when this thing is true, we write limit x tend to x naught fx equal to L. This is how you have defined the limit of fx in your lower classes. Now, let us formally define the definition of limit of functions. We say fx approaches to the limit L as x approaches to x naught, right? Now, this is true if for every number epsilon greater than 0, there exists a corresponding number delta greater than 0 such that for all x, this condition is true. That is, 0 less than mod x minus x naught less than delta implies mod fx minus L less than epsilon. So this is called the epsilon delta definition of limit of function, right? So this definition which you are looking at the screen, this definition has two parts. The first part is this neighborhood of x when mod x minus x naught lies between 0 and delta. This is called deleted neighborhood of x naught, delta neighborhood of x naught, and mod fx minus L less than epsilon. So this is talking about the values of fx which lies in the epsilon neighborhood of fx, right? Let us see what is the meaning of x tend to x naught in the epsilon definition, epsilon delta definition of limit of function. X tend to x naught means that there exists a positive number delta greater than 0, however small, such that when this condition is true, then x will lie in x naught minus delta to x naught plus delta. This is obtained by applying the absolute function properties to this condition. Or we can say x belongs to x naught minus delta to x naught interval union x naught to x naught plus delta. Let us define the right hand limit, which is also called one-sided limit of function. We say that fx has right limit L at x naught written as this. This positive sign on x naught denotes the right hand limit of function. If for every number epsilon greater than 0, there exists a corresponding delta greater than 0 such that for all x lies between x naught to x naught plus delta. That is only the right side neighborhood of x naught. This implies that mod fx minus L less than epsilon. Next is the definition of left hand limit. We say that fx has left hand limit L at x naught written as limit fx x tend to x naught denoted by this negative sign is equal to L if for every number epsilon greater than 0 there exists a corresponding delta greater than 0 such that for all x lies between x naught minus delta to x naught implies mod fx minus L less than epsilon. So what is the difference here? We are taking only the left neighborhood of x naught here. That is when x lies between x naught minus delta to x naught, then mod fx minus L less than epsilon. So these are the definition of right side limit and left side limit of function fx in terms of epsilon and delta form. And before moving to the next theorem, we should take care of important points here. The first one is that when we say that limit of fx exists, when the limit exists, number one, if left hand limit of fx is not equal to right hand limit of fx, or one of them does not exist, then limit of fx as x tend to x naught does not exist. Number two, if left hand limit of fx is equal to the right hand limit of fx and both the values are equal to L, that means both the limits are equal to the common value, then we say that limit of fx as x tend to x naught exists and is equal to L. In this case, we write it as limit fx x tend to x naught is equal to L. So that is it for today, students. In the next lecture, we will do some examples based on epsilon delta definition and some more theorem. So take your time to watch this video lecture and do practice for the definition of limit of function. Take care, stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.